Broadcasting from the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studios, it's time for the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. This limited release show features the stories of the 2019 contestants of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's athletic competition, NBC's The Titan Games. Now here's your host, Katie Galley.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. I'm your host, Katie Galley. In the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studio with me today, I have Titan Games alternate athlete, professional mixed martial artist, and beer tender, Paulina Granados. How are you doing, Paulina?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time to share your story with us.
Yeah.
So just to kick things off, I wonder, where did you grow up, and how, if at all, was your childhood shaped by athletics?
Well, I grew up in a small town 18 miles north of Corpus Christi, Texas.
Okay.
The town is called Ingleside, which is like a really, really small town. And, you know, I grew up playing sports my whole life. I was kind of a tomboy growing up, and, you know, being into sports and being competitive, you know, I started doing martial arts at the age of 21. So, you know, now I've been doing this for 10 years, and it's brought me over here to San Diego, California. I started taking it more seriously out here and competing in the regional circuit and national circuit called Combate Americas. And, you know, that got me some exposure and stuff, but I wanted to do a little bit more. And I've always been a huge fan of Dwayne Johnson. So whenever, you know, they contacted me about trying out for the show, I was immediately on board and started training for that. And I went to the combine, and they, you know, asked me to be on the show as an alternate, which wasn't the goal, but I'm going to take what I can get, you know, to take the steps forward to be, you know, on the next one. So, of course, I took the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Taking whatever steps necessary, walking through those doors of opportunity. And so you said you didn't start in martial arts, though. So you started martial arts, though, not till 21 years old?
Yes. You know, we grew up kind of, you know, low income, and my dad couldn't really afford to put us in the sports that we wanted. And I always wanted to do martial arts, but it was too expensive for us. So he chose soccer. He's like, well, you know, he could afford soccer. So me and my brother both played soccer. We started when we were 4 years old up until I was like 17. And then, you know, I played like every sport in high school. Besides like softball and cheerleading, I played like volleyball, tennis, I ran track, cross country, and I was just a really hyperactive kid. And I loved sports, not only because I was connecting with my you know, student athletes that were in my grade and stuff, but because I never wanted to go home because my dad was always working and we were home alone. So I always wanted to like stay out somehow. So the extracurricular activities, you know, kept me in check, but it kept me like entertained too. So that's kind of how that started, and it's brought me to, you know, this point in my life, which I'm extremely grateful for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so when you were then you had this interest in martial arts, and then you were able to finally a little later in life get so highly involved in it. So how did you end up on the professional circuit for being a mixed martial artist?
Well, I started doing Muay Thai actually when I was 21, because I was kind of like getting into some trouble after high school. I was in college and I didn't really have any like sports. You know, I wasn't involved in any sports because I never was like the best one in anything, so I didn't get a scholarship or anything like that. Like I was always kind of like mediocre at best. You know, I always worked hard, but I never quite had like that special thing, you know what I mean, to like get a scholarship. I don't know. I just never had the opportunity to do that. So I feel like that kind of like, you know, brought my confidence down, and I started going out and drinking, and, you know, I didn't like where my life was going. And I saw a picture of a female, actually, her name is Gina Carano, on the internet. She was doing Muay Thai, and I didn't know what that was. So I started like doing research, and I was like, oh shit, that's kind of cool. Like there's girls that do this. So I found a school out here or down in Corpus Christi that specialized in Muay Thai. And my coach, after a while, told me I was learning fast and if I would like to compete. And I was like, yeah. 8 months later, I made my amateur debut and I won. And I just knew right then and there when they raised my hand that that was something that I wanted to continue doing because I liked that like fulfillment of, my hard work paying off. So that's kind of how that journey started. And I'm here 10 years later, still doing it. And I'm actually preparing for 2 matches, one in March 9th in San Diego and then April 27th for Combate Americas in Los Angeles. So I'm super excited about those.
That's so cool. I mean, I love that, being able to getting exposed to this sport later in life, being inspired by someone like Gina Carano, and then using that to fuel you, and then going on your own 10-year-long journey. So now you get to compete in these incredible matches and just continuing this on. And so from that time that you started, and I mean, fast forward 10 years later now, but you said that you were brought to the attention too of this season's the Titan Games. And so how did that play into this passion of yours to be a professional fighter, and how did you start to train for that? How did it come on your radar and you ultimately decide that this was something you wanted to go after?
Well, because I always want to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And like when they explained to me like what the Titan Games was about, that's like exactly what my life is about. Like, you work hard at something, you're gonna get it. And like The Rock's always like how hard how hard he worked to be where he wanted to be. Like, I admire that, and that's what I want to do. And hopefully I want to inspire somebody with my story and share my story, to everybody in the world, and maybe inspire, like, people like me, like young girls that were in my position. So that's my goal. I want to, like, be inspirational to people, and, no matter what your money situation is, if you really want to be successful, you could do it. You can do whatever you want in life. So
yeah, I love that.
That's I feel like that's my purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it falls so in line with, I mean, obviously this path that you're on, this journey as a professional athlete, and then 2, these decisions that you made to continue to pursue these new passions, these new goals that you set for yourself. And so when you were made aware of the Titan Games and, to go through the application process, what was it like for you to attend the combine? And you said you kind of shifted your training. You wanted to prepare for the Titan Games. So how did it change your day-to-day training from what you do in the gym training for your fighting career every day to what you were getting prepared for the combine?
I definitely stepped up my training schedule after that because I was really freaking excited about it.
Yeah.
And, surprisingly, like, it actually sparked my drive for what I do now. Like, being able to be at the top, like, fitness level that I was at for that competition is motivating me now to do the same things for these next couple of fights. Because after a while, I kind of lost my fire a little bit. And when that opportunity came up, it made me excited again. And I was like, wow, like, they recognize me from what I'm doing. Because, doing martial arts, like, that's a road less traveled. Like, being a martial artist, we are struggling artists, and so when that opportunity came up, I was like, wow, like, they appreciate my story, and it kind of like sparked my fire again for what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So like, I trained really hard for that, man. It was fun though. Like, I would wake up early and like I was like, man, what is going on here? Like, I just wanted it so bad.
Yeah. That's so cool. I love that. I love it.
It was amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. And I really love what you just said, that being a martial artist, you're a struggling artist. And it's a type of artist that you don't think about being a struggling person or struggling in a profession, but being a professional athlete, trying to make a living doing that has to be so challenging, having so many difficulties. I mean, training every day, preparing yourself for truly the unknown, like this challenge that came up with the Titan Games. You didn't know that it was going to be something that you wanted to go after, a goal you wanted to achieve, but you knew you had to be prepared for whatever was going to come across your path so that you could seize it.
Yeah, because I had no idea. Yeah, because I had no idea what they wanted us to do.
Yeah.
But I knew that we had to be at the top of our game. And I was like, I'm not going to be like literally fighting anybody, but I am going to be probably racing, climbing, you know what I mean? So I was doing like the Jacob's ladder. I was doing sprints. I went to the track. I do incline sprints on a treadmill. I was lifting weights. I was doing pull-ups, push-ups, like whatever I could do, and like that's stuff that I freaking hate doing. But I knew like that's what it was going to take, you know, so that's what I did. And actually now looking back, I'm like, damn, like that's what I need to add to my fight camps, because I got in super duper good shape for that, you know?
Yeah.
So like training for that kind of taught me a little bit about myself too. And it was awesome.
Yes.
It was a really awesome opportunity.
Oh man, that really,
go ahead. Yeah. And just like being in the room with all these other like amazing athletes that do different things and hearing their stories, like it was just a really badass experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It really does sound like that. And so when you did go to this combine, meeting these incredible athletes, these incredible people from all walks of life, and then then from there, what was the process like to from you hearing whether or not you were going to be a contestant on the games, and once you found out you were an alternate, what was going through your head, and how did you navigate that, being prepared for the next step, not knowing if you were going to be able to compete or not?
Well, that was like a roller coaster of emotions, because at first I was like, yeah, like at least I'm in.
Yeah.
But then like when I would think about it, I would start crying. You know, I was like really sad. But then like I would have to shift myself and be like, you know, there's people that freaking wish they were in my position. Like just because I'm not where they're at, there's people that wish that they were where I am. But that's okay. So that's what kept me motivated to stay like in shape, and I kept working out. I kept doing my strength and conditioning, because I was like, I just had faith that I would be on, you know. And unfortunately, like it didn't happen, but I really learned from that experience, and I would totally do it again, like in a blink of an eye.
Oh yeah. And so with that experience, and so what was it like being behind the scenes, backstage, watching all these competitions unfold, and you preparing for the competitions too, not knowing if you're going to have to step up and step in. So what was it like for that? For this whole season, just being a part of it and having the chance to watch it unfold?
Man, it was, you know, some days were better than others. Like some days I'd go on set and be like, oh, I'm just gonna win all day again. Like be like Darcy, you know what I mean? But then like,
yeah.
I was like, I just had to continue to shift myself and be like, you know what, it's okay, because I'm meeting cool people and they might need me. So I just kept like, I just had to keep talking to myself, pretty much talking myself out of it, because I'm really competitive. And like when I would try, like, you know, when I would try the challenges, I really wanted the opportunity to get to compete. I was like, oh, like I'm just super competitive, you know. And I was like, oh, I felt like they were like giving me a toy and then taking it away from me.
Oh yeah.
But it was really fun. Like it was cool.
Yeah.
And just watching everybody and like the energy in the room, and like when people, you know, when I hear their stories, like it made me cry. And I'm like, man, like maybe you know I would understand why they would pick some people the way they did, because like some of the stories are super inspiring. Like I would cry, you know, and it was just so touching and stuff. So everybody, you know, all those 64 people that DJ picked, like, are amazing, and they totally deserve the opportunity. And I'm like, I feel blessed that I even got to meet these people.
Yeah.
So it was really a really awesome experience.
Yeah, it seems it just to have been a part of it. And I love your perspective too, where you wanted to compete so badly. That was all you wanted to do, but you knew the chance to even be there was a huge opportunity and a huge blessing in and of itself, because you got that opportunity to just stand there, be there, know the competition, meet all of these incredible people. And so how did you, when you were in those you had those bouts of sadness and a little bit of frustration where all you wanted to do was compete, what kind of helped you shift that perspective and brought you out of it to remind you, hey, I'm here, I have this opportunity, even though you wanted to be competing? How did you kind of shift that mentality when you had those, those bouts of just frustration and upsetness?
Yeah, to be honest with you, like the way I would shift was just connecting with the contestants and like talking to them. Like I said, just talking to them and hearing their stories. I was just like, yeah, like I get it now, you know? And like I'm inspired and touched by everybody that I met, and you know, just connecting with them and them being inspired by me, even though I'm not competing. Like that was just an amazing experience that helped me stay in a positive mindset, and you know, just kept me pushing forward and doing those long hours. And on top of that, The Rock would freaking get us catered like really, really, really good food, so that made me happy too.
Yeah,
The catering was incredible. Jesus. I was like, that's what I would look forward to, honestly, every night. I was like, oh man, I can't wait till they feed us, because
Oh,
they had an incredible freaking catering like display. Like they had like 5 different proteins. They had like some kind of shrimp, some kind of beef, and like everything. And then like another table would have like all these salads. And another table had dessert and drinks, like all these different carbs, and it was like different every night. So that was really cool. And like, and it's funny to me because like if you look at his Instagram, like he likes to eat.
yeah.
And so like that, like it was awesome that he was sharing that with us, you know, in his own way by like getting us like really good food.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And they treated us really nicely. Like the production company, everybody was just so freaking amazing. Like I feel like that's why they're so successful, because how they treat people. And that's what I don't know. Like they're just super inspiring. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I love that, to connect on that. I mean, connecting with these individuals throughout the competition, but then connecting on the level too of he built that community, The Rock built that community with this show for a mutual love of food too. And it's funny what food can do, but just having that be something that stands out to you and having that opportunity at the end of every day to just continue to speak with people and build those relationships over a meal and have that shared experience.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And just like when I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh shit, like it's super chaotic, but everybody's so calm.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I'm like, whoa, like if I was in their position, I'd be freaking out. You know what I mean? And like just seeing just the way everybody's composed, like just kept their composure. Like it's the first season, you know what I mean? Like there was a lot of things that were like they had to tweak and stuff like that, and just how they handled everything, how everybody was calm. Like nobody was freaking out about anything, you know? It was probably like the best environment, and it was a lot different than the fighting environment,
Mm-hmm.
but it had like that same air of competitiveness, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And
it was awesome.
it's really cool too how you see that you had that shared experience with all these people, but then you too were able to draw on your own experiences and compare it to what fighting is like every day, and having that training versus the kind of training that went into the games and just the different people that you got to meet. And so, Paulina, I wonder from this incredible experience that you've had, and the unique opportunity that you had too to be this alternate, like you're saying, to take it in a different way from a different perspective. I wonder, just reflecting back on this experience, what you would say that your definition of a Titan is, and how do you believe that your experience on this season of the Titan Games will now carry over into the rest of your life?
I feel like a Titan is a strong, committed, and influential leader,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I felt like everybody that I met out there was a Titan, truly, like based on their life and what they went through, and how much of their heart and soul they would put, you know, during these competitions. So I feel like that's what a Titan is to me, you know, and that's what they all inspired me to be that way. You know, my way of being, I want to be strong, and I want to be influential and positive, and that really motivated me for the rest of my life, you know, and connecting with all these people, like I want to know them forever, you know. I want to like keep knowing like what's going to happen with their lives and stuff, and I'm really excited for the future of the Titan Games and what it's going to embark, you know, for other people, and like who knows like who the next Titan will be, you know, after watching these people, because not everybody had the opportunity because it was a brand new thing. So I'm really excited for the future of the show. And I think the first season is incredible. So I feel like it's going to keep getting better.
Yep.
As the Titan team grows.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And it is so cool. I love what you said. They're a strong, committed, and influential leader. And so just building a team of people around that, and including yourself, who was an alternate, you embody that too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have made it as far as you did. And you wouldn't have been considered to be a member of this year's show, which you were. And so, Paulina, just looking back on all of the things that you have accomplished, and looking forward, knowing that you still have so much more to do, and so many more goals that you've set, and so many more things that you will accomplish. I just have one final question that I ask all of my interviewees. What do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for being tiny but mighty.
Yes.
So I don't know if you know, I'm like 5'2", 115 pounds. So me and Carla were like the smallest girls out there. But boy, we got heart. So I want to be remembered for that.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's installment of the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. To learn more about each of these Titan athletes, be sure to check out their information in the links in my show notes. Furthermore, to stay up to date on all things coming out of the Keep Moving Forward Creators Studio, be sure to subscribe to the Keep Moving Forward podcast iTunes channel and follow along on social media, also available in the show notes. As the creator of the Titan Games, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says, "Titans aren't born, they're made." And I hope today's story helped you realize all that you are capable of becoming if you put in that hard work and just keep moving forward.